This is from Slate. Living behind the wheel, more Americans are sleeping in their cars than ever before. Should cities make space for them? Can you believe this is a real question we're asking ourselves in a supposedly first world country? Ugh. Alright, so continue on. Each night at 6 p.m., San Diego's New Life Assembly Church opens its parking lot to dozens of people who will spend the night in their cars. The church is one of 3 sites in the city where the homeless can park overnight without fear of being ticketed or towed or worse. It's part of a citywide safe parking program that started in 2010. As housing costs soar in major cities, more Americans are living behind the wheel. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development doesn't collect national data on vehicle residency, but unsheltered homelessness. A category that includes people sleeping in vehicles is on the rise. In 2016, they counted 176,357 unsheltered people nationwide on a single night. On a single night. This isn't even on, on a monthly basis or yearly basis. There's not 176,000 people yearly living in their fucking cars. It's on a single night. Again, this isn't on a monthly basis, right? This isn't like a monthly number. This isn't even a yearly number. This is on a single night across the United States. That's bullshit. That's wrong. It's not okay. And the fact that churches and the question of do we need to be opening up our parking spots for people who live in their cars to park safely? Hey, but our economy's doing well. I'm going to get to that. Don't worry. I'm going to get to our economy, and you'll see why it's not doing well. I mean, I'm sure you already know it's not doing well, but let's see. I'm going to go back to the article. Boop. The car has become a new form of affordable housing, says Graham Pruss, a researcher and former outreach worker for Seattle's Road to Housing program. After years of crackdowns, cities from Santa Barbara, California to Kirkland, Washington are trying a new strategy: safe parking programs. It's run by nonprofit Dreams for Change, has 3 lots with 150 spaces. The program has 325 residents. More than 2 people share a car, in some cases ranging from families to retirees to tech workers, making nearly $100,000 a year. And they sleep in models ranging from a Honda Civic to Lexus. Wow, even a Lexus. That says a lot. As vehicle residency grows, local governments have largely responded by trying to legislate it out of existence. Of course they're trying to get it out of existence. Why wouldn't they? Oops, sorry. Behind these laws, often championed by neighborhood groups and businesses, is the concern that vehicle residents, especially those in VR or campers, were being more trash. And it just goes on and on and on. This is from Slate. Again, this was very recent. So, what the article doesn't mention that I think it needs to be mentioning, it says neighborhood groups and businesses. Don't you mean gentrifiers? You know, like those super filthy rich people who go into cultured neighborhoods and then make them prosthetic? Yeah, that's what they mean. So we're about to look at a Forbes article. America's real economy isn't booming. And I want to show you something interesting about this particular article, because Forbes doesn't normally have articles titled like that. Forbes is very in line with the corporate establishment. They are very in favor of capitalism. Forbes, I mean, I guess they try to hide it, but they're doing a really bad job at it. America's real economy isn't booming. See, so this guy is a contributor. Opinions expressed by Forbes contributor are their own. So this isn't Forbes, this is this dude, Peter George. I probably mispronounced that. There was a stat in here that he cited that I really wanted to take a look at. Slow and steady inflation has eroded buying power over the past decade. According to The Nation, the minimum wage rose to $7.25 by 2009, but since then inflation has eroded 10% of its buying power. So this year someone will have to work 41 additional days to make the equivalent of the 2009 minimum wage. Healthcare costs are projected to go up 20% in the coming year. Credit card debt has crested at $1 trillion and is projected to increase at 4.7% by 2020. Wages have been increasing by only 2.9% a year. For the young, education debt has reached a record $1.52 trillion. How long is this sustainable? I don't know. See, and up here he talks about it takes an average of a little more than $100,000 per year now for a household to be able to live without anxieties about money. But just over here, we talked about some of these people making $100,000 and not, ranging from families to retirees to tech workers making nearly $100,000 a year. So these folks living in their cars who are making $100,000 a year, kind of does debunk this little piece right here. So, I mean, we all know the economy isn't good, but seeing some of these stats and seeing the figures and the money really helps, I think, to put it into more perspective at how local it is. This is something real. It's near us. And the media, I'm going to shit on the media again. They're not talking about this. They're saying that the economy is doing well, when in fact, okay, this year, so what triggered the 2008 recession? There were a number of things, but there were three things that really did it, right? It was stock buybacks, inflation, and the housing bubble popping, right? So this year, after the tax cuts, corporations and rich people did the most stock buybacks. They did more stock buybacks now than they did in 2008. Inflation is offsetting wages, and they have been for the last 6 months. And the housing bubble is starting to burst. It hasn't completely hit, but it's starting to. I've been reading up on a lot of economists, and Joe Rogan had a stockbroker on his podcast. So there's a lot of different things at play here. Vehicular homelessness is on the rise. Yes. I'm smiling, but like I said, I'm dead inside.